I'll be the one by your side through the good and the hard times, when we're laughing, when we're hurting. I'll be the one that you need through the love and tragedy, when we're winning, when we're losing. Take my hand, ooh, there's a better life ahead. Take my word, ooh, with you and me, there's a better life. There's a better life. There's a better life. There's a better life.
But you gotta come to Gracie Jane's. It's an eclectic, wonderful, spiritual bar that you will never experience anywhere else in the world.
It's an experience that no one regrets once they come here.
You're going to see people that are smiling. You're going to see people that are hugging. You're going to see people that are singing. You're going to see people that are dancing. You're going to see it all.
It's the best karaoke. It's the best live entertainment. It's the best decor. You can even get your outfit painted.
It's the best clientele.
Your body painted. I haven't done that yet. That's next.
And it's an art gallery.
If you want an experience of a lifetime, you want to come out with me to Gracie Jane's at St. Albert, because you'll never see anything like this.
It's a lifetime experience.
You have to come because it will change your life. So it's life-changing, it's inspiring.
We fell in love in this place.
You know, you'd see this maybe in New York or Paris or, you know, some of the biggest cities in the world. You're not going to see this even in Canada, maybe. Like, this is a very unique place.
So here I am the day I opened, and I got $17 to my name. And oh my God, I'm opening up a bar and I got $17 left. I was born to a family of, there was 4 of us. So my brother, born in 1939, he was the first one, and my grandmother, my midwife grandmother, she delivered all the babies in Webster in the Grand Prairie area, and she had a little medical bag, and she was an inspiration for me because she had so many little cool ideas, with garlic, olive oil, castor oil, you know, brandy was in her little medicine bag. My brother was born blue, and so she just turned him upside down, gave him a teaspoon of brandy, patted him on his bottom, and ironed his heart with a press cloth. And he was a preemie back then, and then kept him in a little box in an oven, a wood-burning stove oven, yeah. Oh, she had some really cool remedies. My sister Lucy was born like 4 years, there was 4 of us born 4 years apart from each other. And she was born next, and so that was, and my grandmother delivered her at home, in the store actually, because they lived in the back of the store. And then my sister Pauline was born in 1947, and then I was born in 1951. My mom was so tired of looking after the store, the kids, and my dad was making moonshine, having too much fun because he was bored. So what happened, my mom decided she was just gonna up and leave my dad. And back then, separation, there was no such thing as divorce. And she took off down to Nova Scotia for 10 years. living with my dad, or my grandfather, I should say, and my step-grandmother in Nova Scotia on a fruit farm, and it was absolutely beautiful down there. Grandfather was an avid gardener and fisherman, and he worked like they called him Big John. We had to work really hard and picking rocks and vegetables, and it was a beautiful farm. They had grapes growing wild everywhere, fruit, vegetables. Well, they had to plant it. A couple hundred chickens. The neighbors and them shared oxen, 2 oxen and a Clyde horse for plowing the fields. It was an amazing childhood. We were very poor, but we were very happy. My mom used to work for the Navy. She was a cook in Cornwallis, so where we lived in Digby, Bear River area. My grandfather was an incredible man, and he worked so hard to make, the land productive, and there was no wages back then, or welfare, or anything like that. So what he used to do is trade with the fishermen and fill vegetables or chickens. So what me and my sister had to do is go and pick all these vegetables. So we had a lot of work to do. Going to school in Smith Cove, like all the kids there thought I was weird because I could speak Polish and I had long hair and dressed like a little farm girl. I liked dancing, I liked being goofy, I liked just having fun as a child. And I always wanted something that nobody else had. I always wanted my own thing. And everybody else would have a pleated skirt. Mine would have a pleated skirt, but I'd have a flower on it. Or if we had to do a project in school for sewing, fringe jackets, we'd have to do the same. I would always add something just because I wanted it to be mine. I didn't want to be like everybody else. I wanted to have my own. My mom found out that my step-grandmother was mean to me and my sisters. This is 1961, so here's me and my 2 sisters, or me and Pauline, I should say, because my oldest sister was here already, coming across Canada on a train to meet my dad. I never met my dad since I was 10 months old. So they met at the Transit Hotel and had their reunion, my mom and dad, after 10 years. And they got back together. Honeymoon at the Transit Hotel. And then I got to meet my dad and my sister and my niece. And then my grandparents on my dad's side. Meeting my dad was quite the experience. It was overwhelming, and all I had on me was I had a doll that I got as a present from my mom for Christmas, and that was the beginning of my new life here in Alberta. When I came to Edmonton in 1961, I had long braids down to my hips, and I wore longer skirts, and I had a little bit of a Nova Scotia accent. I went to St. Francis School up to grade 9, and then O'Leary for grade 10, 11, and then to grade 12 I went to St. Joe's because I wanted to take art. On my walls in my bedroom, and I drew the Beatles, I drew Oriental art, I drew religious paintings in black felt pen on my walls in my bedroom. My mom was livid because it doesn't come on.
Every single place my mom's ever lived, even when she was 12, she painted her room, like painted the walls, painted the ceiling, painted the door, and that was when she was 12.
That was when I first realized that I loved painting, and I was very athletic as a child. I liked swimming, kung fu, soccer, all the sports I did. I had my son Thomas at a young age, 13, 65. Not by choice, it was a pajama party that I was invited to, but it doesn't matter, because out of it, I got the most incredible son. My mother was the most incredible woman you could ever meet. Like, she kept my son, and she said, it doesn't matter what the situation is, he's my blood. So she raised him with me, and I was very, very fortunate. So I grew up with my son. He made me more responsible, if you can be a responsible teenager. And I was judged a lot as a teenager, because back then if you had it, you were considered inappropriate. There's different words we can use, but my mom made me take kung fu for 5 years. 3 hours a day. And that was after school with Frank Lee. So I had my first black belt, and that was an honor working with him. Back then, I was the only, I can say this, white girl. Then I would go to Robert Tate's music studio and take drumming lessons for an hour. I did that because I loved the Beatles, and the reason I took drumming, my sisters did piano, accordion. I thought, no, I'm gonna do drums, because I liked Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr was my favorite Beatle because he was supposedly the ugly one out of the four. So I liked him the most. Of course, I liked them all, but the Beatles were a huge inspiration for me. It was an amazing time to grow up. I worked at A&W as a car hop in 1965. Being a woman in the 60s, so, you know, it was fun. I wasn't the burning bra type, but I was the equal wages for what we do. It was a free-spirited time to grow up. It was spiritual, it was like love, peace, people running around in the nude, going to love ends, running around in the park, taking off, playing strip poker, crazy things like we did when we were 15 and 16. My mom paid for me to go to SAIT, to go to art school after I graduated in 1969, and I was supposed to go to Calgary. I was 17, my black belt in Kung Fu, graduated. There was a generation of peace, love. There was a concert with Jefferson Airplane. So that summer I decided, me and my friend Sharon were gonna hitchhike and we were gonna go to San Francisco. But I didn't tell my mom, I just said we were going to a show. I had a 59 Chev, and I knew that wouldn't have made it there, so we decided we were gonna hitchhike. We thought it was only gonna be like a week, not knowing how long it took to get there, and not thinking that we'd be there for 3 months. We just thought we would just go and come back hitchhiking. So that was an experience in itself. But when I came back, my mom was livid. I thought, okay, I'm not going to art school. What am I going to do? And I was so mad at myself for not going to art school. So what I did is I self-taught myself. I bought every book, took some courses throughout the years in Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, on art workshops. I developed my own style. So you can tell my style, it's a certain kind of uncombinable. That's my favorite thing to say, because I used to combine the uncombinable to make my one-of-a-kind pieces. Growing up in the 60s, there was a lot of tie-dye and a lot of color and beads and, you know, psychedelic. It was a generation of love and peace and no war. And after Vietnam and Kennedy and all that. So I grew up watching all that on the news, and it was a huge influence, but I like to draw and to paint more than drawing. It's my way of expression. Like some people like to sing, I like to draw, and it's a visual thing, and it's my expression of what I love and what I see. And my influence were the Beatles, like the generation, the music, culture, religion, because I was brought up Catholic when I was a child. Clint Eastwood was one of my heroes, also watching all his movies, and Marilyn Monroe, Lucille Ball, all those beautiful movie stars.
Elvis, Marilyn Monroe, Michael Jackson, Prince, Freddie Mercury, like it's just the bedazzled people, Janis Joplin.
I like to capture them on my paintings with Betty Boop, meaning, you know, the sexy little cartoon, and Jessica Rabbit. When they introduced Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit and Jessica in the late 80s, I thought, wow. And then they made a cartoon with real people. So I do paintings now where I add, you know, like John Lennon, Mick Jagger, I add them as the real people, and then the cartoons are in there too to make a one-of-a-kind piece that's totally different. Liberace, for example, he was the best piano player in the world and he made it look easy. So Betty Boop, I just love her stylized, she almost looks alive. I love texture because you can touch it and feel it, you know. And I like faces, eyes, lots of color. And I use a lot of supplies, like I use wood, I use fabric, I use old wedding dresses, old recycled jewelry. I got my friends collecting old jewelry for me, mirrors, broken CDs, just a little combination of everything, and lots of paint, of course. I have thousands of dollars worth of paint and paintbrushes at home. And I like to paint religious, like Last Supper, Madonna and Child. And then I'm good at that for a couple of months. And then I think, oh God, I gotta go back to painting movie stars. So then I could do that for a couple of months. And then I think, no, I gotta do rock stars. Or I have to do cartoons. I discipline myself of doing something every day, or trying to, in my life, to do something art-orientated. So somebody like a hockey guy would come, can you do me a hockey player? I had a hard time with it because it's a masculine painting, and me being a woman and loving glitter and pinks and all the colors, I thought, how am I going to do this? So I ended up learning how to calm down a little bit, and it's hard for me to stay away from bold and colorful and texture. So, but I did do a series with Gretzky, Gordie Howe, Bobby Hall, and 18 All-Stars, and the New York 9/11. And those were hard for me to do because I didn't get to do my texture. I had all these dreams when I did my Michael Jackson and my American coat that's right there. I did that for a fashion show, and I've held back on it. It's from 1992, and I still have it, thinking that I wanted to sell it to Michael Jackson. I mean, that was a dream, but it was my dream. And same with my paintings in the back. I just have this vision that maybe someday some movie star will like my artwork. I just see things differently than most people. I see things that I can work on, that I can make alive again, or put some new life to them. All the chairs in here were from an auction sale, or people bring me in their old chairs and or tables. And it just makes me feel good when it's completed, because I'm bringing life to something that was going to be thrown away. Throughout the years working in the cocktail business, which kept me going and paid my bills, I thought, if I'm going to work doing this, because I'm not going to art school, I'm going to love what I do. And I do love what I do. Customer service was very important. I learned that by working at A&W and Safeway, and it's just a service thing that you make people happy, and so I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. It's my career. I worked full-time at the Sands Hotel in 1969, back then, in the lounge. I didn't have any experience, but I learned fast. And I ended up going from 1969 to 73 at the Sands, and then I went to the Yellowhead Hotel. So I managed the lounge there in the nightclub for 17 years. It was the busiest bar per capita in Edmonton when they opened, so I made a lot of money for the owners, and I did really good financially with it when I was young. I bought myself an acreage when I was 23. I went on holidays with my mom and dad and my son, and every summer I would take 2 weeks off and go take some kind of art course. So I still did a little bit of artwork, but I didn't sell it. I didn't, you know, it wasn't a market. And then I got married in 1977 and had 2 more children, and Jessica and Jamie. I had a lot of fun with what I did for a living, and up until 1983, when we had recession and then everything fell apart for about 4 or 5 months, We went from having 3 settings at lunchtime to Friday night, you know, half the capacity. So I thought, oh my God, I need to do something else. While I was working at the Yellowhead, I took a 2-week off in the summertime. I went to Chicago. And do you remember those great big spin art machines they used to have at Westminster Mall? You'd put your t-shirt on and spin. Well, anyways, I saw this at a workshop in Toronto, and I thought, I want one of those. But like, they were like 15 grand back then, and that was a lot. I thought, well, the only way I can do it is if I have my own little studio or my own little retail space. So I got brave and I opened up a little wearable art, Gracie Jane's wearable art store. So then I just took a few dollars, took out a lease for 5 years, actually 9, and went on 124th Street, 107th Avenue, and sold clothing with art on it, from jean jackets to ties, t-shirts, dresses, wedding dresses. I had to open up with some painted clothing, so I was very busy painting outfits, so that's where I learned how to paint fast and be productive, because I had to have something to sell to pay the rent. So when I opened, I had this cute little shop, and just me operating it. And then I met Heather, and I met Debbie. I met a lot of customers that I have now still.
I met Gracie about 38 to 40 years ago, and I was in the fashion. I had a boutique, and there was a fellow who did leather jewelry. He brought something that Gracie had done. It was a painting on denim, and she had signed it, and it said Gracie Jane. And he said to me, it was amazing. What she had done was amazing. And he said to me, would you like to meet her? And I said, yeah, I would like to meet her.
You want to talk about her artwork? Like, look at her artwork. It's freaking amazing, right? You know, I'm gonna take this thing to the mosh pit, and I'm gonna slam down.
Well, these are totally back in style again, these sparkly shoes. They were out for a while, but now they're totally in, and they're really comfortable, and they're hand painted, same as my outfit. And I get lots of compliments on them because I'm wearing them again.
And it was good to me. I had a lot of fun, did a lot of fashion, over 200 fashion shows.
Fashion shows, painting bodies, making likenesses of famous people was different.
How I got 700 people to come to my fashion show at the Edmonton Inn in 1992 was by having all my customers model what I made for them. And it was kind of awesome because in those 9 years that I did the wearable art business, I was very fortunate with the Sun and the Journal. They were really, like, they made my portfolio for me with full-page articles in color. The height of it all was rough cuts.
If you love crazy, wild clothing, and who doesn't, you'll love the fashions of Gracie Jane, especially if your motto is dress to excess.
That was an honor to be on that show. It was after the hockey game on a Sunday night for 10 minutes. I got like 8 minutes on TV with Heather, my friend, and Shirley Boburley, a Phyllis Diller impersonator, and the guy that hosted the show. And it was, you'll see it, it's awesome. So it built up my portfolio over the years, and I just didn't give up. And it's not an easy business because, like, people always eat, or, you know, they need to eat and they can drink, but buying wearable art was a very kind of a business that's very like, do I need that? No, you don't. And then GST came in, and that slowed things down. And when nothing is moving for 4 or 5 months in retail or sales, you got to close. So again, there was here I am now, what am I going to do? So instead of clothes, I went from clothes to canvas. So I thought, well, I know where I can go. I can go to the Art Walk, or I can go to the Fringe. My son Thomas used to set me up at the Fringe, and it would take all day because we had to do the fabric and, you know, the tent, and people were buying my art. So I thought, hey, this is kind of cool. Had a lot of fun doing the Fringe. It was my favorite festival to be in. For 17 years I did it. met a lot of cool people and artists and musicians and poets and card readers, and that's why I have the card readers theme here, because I want it to be a fringe festival all day long. So then I got into I did an art show, I did the Fringe Art Walk, so that kept me going. And then I went to work at the Old Bastards Club, part-time to pay my bills. The club that I was working part-time, the city took over their lease and the building at the Armories. So here I am, 64 years old, no job, no income. What the heck am I gonna do? I have an acreage to look after, my dogs, my kids. And I thought, I'm not gonna go work at Tim Horton or anywhere, because I thought, I wanna do what I love to do. So I thought, I'm gonna combine my art, my bartending experience, waitressing, and put it all together in one unit.
I couldn't believe it when I was like, Mom, you're 65 just about, we're opening a bar? And she's like, well, I'm gonna give her. And I was like, holy cow, okay.
St. Albert needed something fun, and there's lots of cool people here, and this was an empty spot for 2 years, so I thought I'd put some life into it. I did a business plan and a proposal to the bank, but because of my age, they looked at me and thought, what are you doing 64 years old wanting to open up a business? What's wrong with you? You know, so of course I got rejection. So I talked to one of my friends, Molly, and she got together with one of her friends, and they got me a private loan, and $17,000, which is, I needed $100,000, but $17,000. Here, Grace worked with $17,000. So that was my seed capital. It's not much, but make it work. And I thought with my determination and not giving up and finding all these deals and going from garage sale and making things work, fixing old things and making them look new and having a certain style, my style to it, I thought, okay, I can do it.
And her two passions, being a bartender since 1969 to doing her own art, made her this place.
It took me 1 year to get ready to open my bar, and I thought, what am I going to have in there? I thought, okay, well, the tables, chairs, of course, a bar, going to flea markets and farmers markets and garage sales and picking up old bars and Don Cherry's old wine bars and chairs and stools from Tim Hortons, and I got an old bar piece from the Cromdale. I got 2 chairs from the Bruin Inn. I just have a collection of things that are collectibles. And then I paint on top of them. And then I thought, how is this going to be durable to drink on? I have to be able to wipe this table after, and it's got to be strong. So it all came out, and it worked out to be epoxy. It's a trick to do. I was doing it outside, and I did this beautiful table, and it was all ready to go, and I put my epoxy on outside. The next day I went to go look at it, because it takes 24 hours to dry. It had like 10,000 flies and mosquitoes in it. So I thought, hey, this is a new kind of a piece. So I kind of sanded it down. I mean, put some more art around it and did another layer of epoxy. So that was a very interesting piece. Thomas being my electrician and jack of all trade, we put the bar together.
I'm picking up tiles and painting the walls. I picked the colors, actually, the black, the mustard, and the red on the back.
And Jamie was my guy that lifted everything, the heavy stuff, brought the fridges and all the tables, and we organized it until we got it down pat.
I help her out when she needs it. Lifting, putting stuff in her vehicle. I just do it for when she needs it done.
We got the location in October of 2015, and we wanted to open before New Year's Eve. And that didn't happen because of plumbing issues.
So paid my first rent, my last rent, month rent, got my business license, and everything So here I am the day I opened, and I got $17 to my name. I thought, oh my God, I'm opening up a bar and I got $17 left. Okay, let's do it.
But then when we opened, holy cow, watch out.
I had a beautiful opening. Again, my daughter and my son helped me, and then I have volunteers that came and helped me and got me off the ground. So first day, $1,500 in sales. All my friends from the Armory, from Art Walk, from the Fringe, my relatives, my friends, it worked. And every day I go shopping for my liquor and just continue rolling. So I created my own job. I needed a job, so I created a job. It'll be 7 years this October 4th that I've been here paying rent. And I love my location. I didn't think I would make it in St. Albert because I was told, no, you won't make it work there. It's too expensive. It's too cliquey. It's too what? I said, no, I'm gonna try it.
And then my mom got diagnosed with cancer.
I was up on a ladder putting a ceiling tile in because I started painting my ceiling tiles. I thought, those be like kind of different, because it was too boring plain white. So I did 6 tiles and I was hanging one up and I fell off the ladder and I broke my pelvis bone. So I was walking around like a duck for a month in pain, and then my hips started swelling. I thought, what the heck's wrong with me? I can't walk. My toes are like sausages. So my daughter dragged me to the hospital and they said, oh, you got inflamed arthritis, blah, blah, blah. So I came back to work and my hip got bigger, my ankles swole, went back, and then they found out that I had non-Hodgkin's lymphotic type B.
Well, when I first met her, and Jessie, within days, Jessie asked me to take her mother to the hospital.
I cried for 5 minutes when they told me that, like, you got cancer and there's a 10% chance that, you're going to survive. It's so hard, we can't operate, because it was, in 2 weeks, it was 15 pounds, the tumor. That's how fast the cancer went. And the doctor says to me, Grace, you should get your will. 3 to 6 months. This type of cancer is very aggressive because we can't operate and because the tumor is so big. I can't promise you anything. So they said, okay, Gracie, you have a choice. You can either get massive treatments of chemo. So I had 20 radiations, 10 chemo, prednisone, 5 months at the cross, back and forth.
I went to the hospital as much as I could. And I just said, God can't take her. I just kept saying that and praying to God. We were all so scared. I think that's the scared side being.
I had a lot of help. My son stayed in the hospital with me in his Oilers pajamas, slept on the floor on a mattress the whole time. My daughter took over my bar for 5 months.
I worked 6 days a week pretty much, 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. every night. Put my children on hold.
Jessie and I ran the show. I've never run a restaurant before, but we were a little light on hot dogs, but the liquor got served.
I had some friends. I had a lot of help, and I was very, very fortunate to have the support that I had to keep my bar open, because otherwise I would have lost everything.
Jessie'd be sleeping on the floor. She'd be up all night. I'd open the door to the darkness. Like, we worked hard and we got her done. But you don't think about why you do it. It's just the urge to do it.
There's a community here and everyone holds each other and everyone shares in the success or the sadness of not just Gracie's health, but everyone.
So Thomas stayed with me at the hospital. Jamie stayed at home with the dogs. Jessica stayed at the bar with no real experience. She, she worked with me for my opening, and she knew a little bit of how to bartend, but I got one of my friends from the Legion, Tammy, to work with Jessica, and they worked the bar while I was sick, and they did a really good job. So it wasn't easy for someone with no experience running there's music, there's the rent, the landlord. So I worked on the phone with her from the hospital, and it worked. I was very sick, and the 20 radiations and 10 chemos knocks the heck out of you.
So it was hard, but I knew she wasn't going anywhere.
At nighttime, every night, I thought, what am I gonna do? I have a business to run. I have my children. I have, 9 dogs. I have dash hounds. And I thought, wow, I'm not ready to leave this world yet. So every night, I know this sounds weird, but it's like a hypnosis thing. So I concentrated on my hip area. I said to my brain, I said, okay, let's make an army of red and white corpuscles, and let's fight my cancer cells. And so I zoned in on my hip area mentally, told my brain what to do, and went to sleep with that note. And it was kind of a positive, because I'm making an army, right, in my brain. So when you're sleeping, your brain's still working, even though you're dreaming, and it's, I don't know, I really believe that worked for me, because I did that every day.
I think she had the cross cancer on their toes, painting pictures and smoking outside, but anyways, that's Gracie Jane. You don't tell her what to do.
In the hospital, I had a little studio, and I was there for 5 months.
So my mom's whole room was full of canvases, bottles, paint, and she was painting in her 90 with a risk of falling band. Yeah, an IV pole,
My daughter and my son brought me some canvas and some paint, and I sat in my room and I painted the Pink Panther. Pink is the color for cancer, and the Pink Panther became my mascot. He's my good luck charm. I love the music, the Henry Mancini, it's music and cartoon and art, and I add the rhinestones and all the glitter to the Pink Panther and make him have a pink drink. So he's my good luck charm.
When we went to visit her in the hospital, we were the ones that were weak and felt sick. She entertained us. Her positiveness is really something.
My niece that lives in California, Cookie, said, Auntie Grace, I have a $1,500 ticket to go see in La Quinta to see Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, Paul McCartney, Roger Waters, The Who, Neil Young, and Bob Dylan. So I said, are you kidding? I can't take off my cancer treatments. So I said to my doctor, and he's an oncologist, and I said, can I have 10 days off to go to a concert? Because I don't know my results of all the chemo. He says, well, why do you need 10 days? I said, well, I want to go see Mick Jagger. And he looks at me and he says, who, may I ask, is Mick Jagger? And I said, oh, that's why you're the oncologist and I'm the patient. I felt like I was 16 again. The audience, the people there was like 85,000 people in this polo field, and there was a cloud of smoke. Of marijuana, of course. It wasn't legal then either. But anyways, we had my niece, Claudette, I call her Cookie, and then we had Kreger. He came with his friend, and Dirty Grandpa, and Sue. Dirty Grandpa's a nickname. But anyways, they were drinking rum at the concert, and it was like $15 a drink. So I brought an empty bottle in an IV bottle and filled it up with white rum for my friends so they could have cheap drinks. It was the most inspiring, like to see Paul McCartney singing and the wind blowing in his hair. To see an icon, it was my heroes, the Beatles. Seeing him playing his piano, it was healing. Bob Dylan, he started the whole thing off. He was wearing a black suit with sequins on his pants, and I thought, wow, 80 years old and he still got it. Neil Young was singing, and guess what came up behind him? A full harvest moon. And it was the most incredible experience to see him singing that song with an actual full moon behind him. So that was the most exciting thing that I got to do as a cancer patient. I came back and then my doctor asked me how I was doing. I said, it was the best thing I ever did for my whole life. That was my bucket list, I'll tell you. And then I got my results in January, and my doctor called me and my son in the office, and he said, Gracie, you have to sit down. So I'm thinking, oh my God, he's gonna tell me good or bad. But I went in there thinking good, of course. And he says, I don't know how you did it, but you did it. So I was clear, and I've been in remission for 6 years now.
Yeah, we made it. And then a year later, cancer-free. So yeah.
But then I lost my son a year after all this, and that's harder than cancer.
My younger brother gets a knock at the door from police at 10 p.m. Is Grace here? Grace Genereux is your mom? Yes. Thomas Genereux is your brother? Was that my brother? Well, that was January 22nd of 2019.
I was very fortunate to have Thomas as my son. I grew up with him.
He was sort of like not just her son, but like her brother and her friend.
It's something that you can't. I deal with it every day. Actually, I haven't dealt with it. That's why I'm still waiting for him to come home. He froze to death walking 22 miles. Had an argument with his girlfriend. Had a few drinks too many and walked in January 22nd from Stony Plain all the way up towards West Edmonton Mall with just a jean jacket on. Saddest day of my life.
After Mom got cancer, it's like, wow, we did it. We pulled through cancer. Now we have to deal with a spontaneous death.
He helped me through my cancer. He didn't leave my sight for 5 months. And so, again, he was the biggest support aside from my daughter and Jamie.
So yeah, just telling your siblings or your loved ones, your family and friends that you love them, because it could happen.
It was amazing that in such a short time of being open that she had the support that she had, and that was really when I saw the full community of this environment and how everybody wanted to see her do well, and how just new relationships and old were surfacing just to make sure that she was okay and that she could continue to live her dream.
We started looking around and, fell in love with the painting and the art and the energy and all that. And I said to Gracie, I said, we're in the lighting business. You need some lights in here. I mean, you've got to show off this art. And I remember saying, well, I can't afford that. And I said, you can't afford not to. We'll find a way. And within about 6 weeks, we had her all lit up. So you could see all the art, and it made such a difference. It was unreal.
It's not about cocktails. It's not about booze. It's about my mom expressing herself.
To me, it's about art. It's about fun stuff. It's about music. It's a little bit of everything. I just try and make them all feel welcome and part of the room. It's not just a bar.
If you feel down, you'll feel up. If you feel kind of you'll feel a better So it's going to take you wherever you feel you want to be that night.
Everybody says the same thing. This woman, she's all love. Her heart is so big, she can't help but share that love with everybody, and that's what Gracie is to me. That's all she is.
And we all sing and we dance together. We get dressed up. We have fun. We're not going out to a bar. We're going to go out to a fun. It's like coming to your family and hanging out and just being yourself. It's a community here, and it's a wonderful community, and there's every walk of life here. I have a venue for them, so they can all come here and be themselves. I don't cater to just 18-year-olds or just 50-year-olds. I want to cater to everyone from 18 to 102.
And Gracie herself is just amazing.
She doesn't turn her nose away to anybody. Like, everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter what your deal is.
You know, I like to say that we're a community here. Soup to nuts, sometimes more nuts than soup.
We used to live in the corridor.
Oh, we used to dream of living in a corridor.
They're all characters. They all are characters. And they all got little nicknames. Like I liked, because I have a little board in the back that I write tabs on. And if I had two Lornes, well, how am I going to know which tab is which Lorne? So this becomes Horny Lorny, this becomes Big Nose Lorny, or whatever. So that was my system on the board.
I'm her go-go dancer.
Nasty Kathy, that we gave her a nickname because she goes on stage and sings and puts on a blonde wig, and now she becomes nasty.
She calls me Ray Ray. I don't know how that got happened.
And then there's Betty Boop. She's just a girl with big eyes, dark hair, lives across the street.
Betty Boop.
Then we got Judy Blue Eyes. That's one of our girls that comes on Thursday, Friday, Saturday and supports the bar.
Zombie girls.
Zombie girls, because anytime we come in, we usually get a zombie.
Always. And then we have Critter, a guy with a long beard, long hair.
They call me Chris Critter, and I love it. I stick with it.
I mean, he looks like Critter from the cartoons. I love him.
Other than Bob Delicious, I'm also called Costa Rican Bob.
Kreger, he's our little Scotsman. He drinks here, and he's a beautiful person, and we just call him, he's our Kreger.
This is my friend, Lorne, better known as Horny Lorny.
Horny Lorny? He's not Horny Lorny. He's just a bookstore guy. For 50 years they've had, and the name just rhymed. And he kind of likes it.
7 shots, Carla.
Or here's Electrical Al or Long Leg Al.
We're hula hoopers.
Or Nasty Kathy or Nice Kathy or...
She's the bobsled girl, the champion.
I mean, I could go on. There's a name for like 100, I could say.
She calls me Wayner.
Not that I forget their names, there's so many, and I don't want, if I leave anybody out, then I'm in trouble.
Well, we just roll in, we're the city boys.
I think the most prominent is the ballerina.
Just came out of the blue one day. She kept calling me Dano. And that pretty much everyone that I see here when I come in here, they go, oh, there's Dano.
Well, I'm the president.
Some of them are lists you don't want to say it in front of a camera.
So that's how I differentiate on my wall of orders. I know that sounds kind of weird, but that's my system and it works.
It's a gallery bar, and we have art. You can sit on people's faces, you can paint your own tile, and you can put yourself in a painting.
There's like artwork everywhere. The tables, the chairs, I wrote the song about it. I mean, it just blew me away. It was like walking into a dream.
We walked in the door and I stood in the middle of the floor over there and turned in a circle with my mouth hanging open.
It's eclectic, unique, a little bit of sparkle and a little bit of boho chic.
From the floor to the roof, there's something every corner.
Yeah, every time you come, it's like you said, you discover something different. Depends on how drunk you are, I guess. You're like, ooh, who am I sitting on today?
Mick Jagger was the biggest thing. Even actually last week I had an older lady for first time in there with a couple friends that were there already saying, oh my God, I'm sitting on Mick Jagger's face. I'm like, are you?
Drea actually got Gracie to commission a piece of art for him. We got a bar stool for our basement. She custom made it for us, which was pretty awesome. It was in the middle of COVID, so it was pretty special.
When I first started coming here, I discovered that, you know, I'm sitting on somebody's face, and I look down and there's a face on my chair. Like, how cool is that?
My picture at the bar is on the bar, so I can only motorboat myself.
It's different, but it's her. That's what Gracie is. And she doesn't judge. She doesn't judge anybody. She's the best.
Her art is only one word, unique. Very unique. It's just, it comes from her and it's who she is. I mean, you've seen her, how she dresses and how she presents herself to the world. Well, her art is an expression of her.
Her artwork is explosive. It's sparkling and it's fun.
It's wild. Just blows you away. I mean, the color just grabs you, you know, and once you look beyond the color and all that, what I always look at is, in every picture she does, is the eyes. And if she gets the eyes, the rest of the picture comes together, but she always gets the eyes.
Eclectic, musical, amazing.
It's unique, it tells a story. When she paints pictures of her customers, it's almost like she paints the best version of them possible, and I love that.
I'm thinking one day, well, you know, everybody keeps telling me I need to meet this Gracie Jane, and it was always in the back of my mind. I'm from St. Albert, and I'd walk by the place maybe a few times. And so here I go into her bar.
It would have been a Tuesday in February 12th, 3 years ago.
She could see me walking in and just looking around like, what? So she had that famous Gracie Jane smile, like, now this is a guy, he's actually really blown away by what he sees.
Brian comes up to the bar, I didn't know his name, comes up to the bar and orders a drink.
As soon as I saw her, I was like, you have got to be kidding me, because it was like a vision.
He said, I'm blown away. He says, I can't get over, you know, that I haven't been here.
It was funny because that very morning, I'd made up my mind that I was done with women. I'd already been with a bit of let's say not a good situation, and I'm done.
And he says, I was sent here by a few people to come and get inspired.
That, just the way she looked, that was the girl that I always wanted.
My regular customers and some of my friends thought, Gracie, you're crazy. What are you doing dating at your age? Whatever. And I said, hey, I could have fun too. I'm human. So it just went on from there, and took a little bit for everybody to get to know Brian, because he's not the social butterfly that I am. And it just blossomed.
And it all started going on from there.
I had 26 bridesmaids, all dressed up in painted dresses, shoes. Best men, well, Brian had 7.
It was the lead up to the wedding that was, it was like, my God, she's working at the bar how many hours, prepping for this wedding. I don't know how many shoes she painted for her bridesmaids, 40 bridesmaids or something. All the dresses she made. She didn't even make her dress until the end. I'm like, Gracie, when are you making your dress? Are you showing up in your panties and underwear?
So many of us were at Gracie's wedding, and that's where these boots come from, and Gracie personalized them. They were my own boots. And then that day I was at the wedding, and she gifted me this vest, which was one of her first pieces.
And she ended up having the most fabulous dress. And then she made guys' ties, shoes. Oh, it just non-stop work she was doing to prepare for the wedding. So for me, it was like, am I actually is she gonna have a heart attack before I actually marry her? I'm like, Gracie, like, this is too much. She goes, don't worry, I can handle it. I'll handle it.
It was amazing, the turnout.
Her wedding was something I can't describe. The way she did the setup for the reception, her wedding alone, and she had a wedding dress that she painted, and her husband had a sparkly jacket that was perfect, and they had one of the relatives gave this beautiful limousine. I'm telling you, it was like a movie.
It was a fabulous day. It was the most wonderful wedding.
150 names, all having fun.
It was like being in a dream. I kept having to pinch myself believing I'm actually marrying this woman.
It was an adventure for my journey in my life, and it was beautiful, actually. And it went on till like 3 o'clock in the morning.
She wanted all of that in her wedding, and she got it.
It's not that bad getting married when you're old. It's not just about sex, you know.
So people think, oh, Gracie's is crazy. Like, how about her house?
Hi, this is where I live, away from work, and this is my retreat. It's a little 3-acre parcel in the middle, nestled in the forest, and it's I found it 17 years ago, and it was full of trees and an old house. It's like a 4-season cabin is what it is. We have dogs, 9 of them. We're down to 4. And my dogs, they go everywhere with me. I love flowers. I love landscaping and old ornaments, just to kind of put it all together. It's a work in progress. An old bicycle, like it's 60, that used to be mine. Have an old washing machine, it still works. A broken vase that I'm fixing. It's absolutely peaceful. It's a perfect place for an artist to live. Every rock and every little thing you see here, we did this all by hand. My piano fence, the way I did that, I just wanted my yard to be different. I know, that's me. And my marble collection. Gotta have rhinestones in my yard. So here they are, in marble form. I get home usually at 3 in the morning. So when I come home, this whole yard is all lit up because I have all these little artificial lights all over the place. My form of happiness is painting. So I zone out, I just am in my own little world. And I just think of things that I love, like people, culture, music, animals, jungle. So this is my little jungle. I have to have supplies. And I got people that bring me old jewelry, fabric, old furniture. You know, they're thinking of what I could recycle and make into something different.
Don't throw away anything. Just don't throw away. Just don't throw away wine bottles that you drank out of, to old jewelry that lost 1 bead. Don't throw that out, because it's useful for something.
I try and get 3 or 4 things going at the same time. And I never finish some of them because they're not orders but it makes me feel productive.
Doing 6 paintings, maybe even 10 with vases all at once, working her colors, because that's how she rolls and works, and she'll just be in her glory.
I love Madonna and I love religious paintings. So I did this on a piece of old plywood, and you can see her, she's peeling away, but she guards my house. She used to be on my fence in the flower garden, but I put her up on my old barnwood now. She's got a new home here, and I'm just gonna keep epoxying at her. We're going in. So here we are. This is my entrance into my house, and then you go this way and it's my little kitchen. When I moved here, it was black and white and empty for a couple of years, so I thought, what am I gonna do to make it me? So I thought, okay, I painted and laminated my countertops with angels and flowers. I did the rocks and pebbles on for black splashes. I did my cupboards as like the coffee bar. So there's where my coffee cups are. Then I've got a chef, and I've got coffee cups, trees. We got cocktails, we got grapes, we have a little bit of everything. So I thought that would make it my own. And this is where I sit. When I come home from work, I just come here, and this is what I do. I sit here, have a coffee, a cigarette, and my paintbrushes are ready to go. I have a vase or a bottle or a painting, and I have all my supplies around me. I'm working on a big painting, and it's gonna be Cher. And when she's done, it will be. I have to have a fence here so my dogs couldn't go downstairs. So I just did this little, it's a piece of wood and vase, whatever. Because I have cats now, and I never had a cat for 20 years, but we have 2 strays. I wanted my living room to be like a gypsy style, just comfortable and lots of color. So there's my color theme, there's my outdoors, and this is all bark from the forest. I went and picked off the trees. This is all styrofoam that I made around the door, and it's kind of cool. How cool are you guys? Yeah, this is the coolest breed to have, and all they want is love, food, and blankets. So they sit here and if I'm painting, they're with me here the whole time. This is my humble little washroom area here. So I'm working on Tom Petty in this corner. Told you I work in every space I can. So here's Tom Petty. Now this is my tiny little bathroom. You notice my dogs come with me everywhere as I go. So I did this with pebbles and painted the floor. Like I said, it was bare. So I walked in and I thought, what am I gonna do? So here we are again. A quick little peek there. Boom, boom. This is storage. It's, if you look, I've got sequins, I've got leopard, I can't even move in here. This is all going to my workshop.
She's a good hoarder because everything it's books, it's CDs, it's recyclable things that she's going to put into the paintings.
See, there's bins and fabric and pictures and books, and this used to be a guest bedroom.
Well, of course, I could tell she needed a studio. You could hardly move in the house with all her paint and things everywhere.
I need more room so I can have my house back.
She's making a workshop to put more stuff in,
So this is my dream come true, having a studio, because I work in my kitchen and I work in my garage, and it's too full. I want to show you this. Like, it's empty right now, but I'll soon have this full, I'll tell you. So my first project I'm going to work on in here, I'm going to finish off Cher. And what I do is I'm going to fill all those shelves up, and I'm going to have a proper table. This is way bigger than my kitchen table, so I have some details to do on her face yet, and then to tone in her headpiece. Then the outside frame, I want to do some mirrors, some glass, some CDs, whatever I can get my hands on again. Then I'm going to varnish her, and then epoxy. So she will be a real showpiece, as she really is in real life. So this is going to be one of my new prized possessions. And I'll be able to work in here properly. I can have all my vases in here. I can work on probably 20 pieces at the same time instead of 1 or 2 I could do in the house. So I can hardly wait to get in here and work.
And I'll be helping her build whatever fancy chair, or she'll have some queen thing she wants, king and queen card table or something. I'll have to, and then I'll just build stuff, she'll paint it. We'll get it rolling.
brings tears to my eyes just to think how lucky I was that everybody supported my bar while I was gone. It's gonna be, well, a long time yet. I'm still good for 20 more years, I figure, painting, socializing, making cocktails, and entertaining people. That's all about being positive. That is the most important thing.
Well, it seems like yesterday came walking into this place. Go Gracie Jane's boutique gallery bar. There were painted faces everywhere, painted faces on all the tables and the chairs, painted saying up on every part of every wall. While I saw her standing there, beads and flowers in her hair, with the prettiest smile I ever saw. With the prettiest smile ever saw. Somehow you don't seem like I just walked into her dream. I felt weak after me. I could barely move my feet, but I had to make my way closer to her. While I looked her in the eyes, and to my surprise, her eyes looked right into